Ulysses S. Grant lived here. And while he's living here, he's also living among dozens of African-American slaves. The person that would eventually lead to the destruction of African-American slavery. But in the 1850s, he's working side by side with those same African-Americans that eventually his actions were free in the 1860s.
Ulysses and Julia loved this place, this home. Julia talks about, it being sunlight and happiness for all who lived here. And yet there's this other parallel story that has been in the shadows.
Julia knows that there is slavery here. It's a big part of her life. But at the same time, she also thinks that the house ran itself. I don't want people to walk away from this site thinking that the house ran itself. The conditions that they were in was unjust. It was emotionally cruel. But at the same time, when you say, oh, that was sad, and then we move on, it doesn't show the leaps and bounds that people made to get out of these situations.
In Missouri at the time, African Americans, whether they were free or enslaved, were not allowed to read or write. And yet we had evidence that they were learning to do that here at Whitehaven and hiding those things because they had been underneath the floorboards in the winter kitchen.
We talk about how children were playing down here and the importance of reading and writing with the slate pencils. But the African beads is one of the biggest testaments to how these people were trying to hold on to something outside of and way bigger than the institution that they were in. The African beads traveled through multi-generations and made it from Africa to the middle of the country.
Grant takes away from this experience a more profound hatred of slavery, which we see in his actions as general, and a commitment to civil rights as the 18th President of the United States. And this is an aspect of Grant that's often forgotten, misunderstood, that he was one of our greatest civil rights presidents in American history.
My oft-expressed desire is that all citizens, white or black, native or foreign-born, may be left free.
President Grant risked public backlash by emphatically affirming his unqualified support for the 15th Amendment, a constitutional amendment which guarantees citizens the right to vote, regardless of race, color, or previous servitude. His actions laid the foundation for future generations.
This is everybody's history, and it is not just a white and black history either. When people come here, there's something that they take away. My hope is that they can see themselves in the stories that we tell here.
There's nothing quite as powerful in respect to the educational experience as standing where these great historical figures once stood. And by visiting these national parks, visitors have that opportunity. And in so doing, I think we gain a much greater understanding of who we are as a country and who we are as Americans.